So this is absolutely crazy. I never thought that I would see this day simply because I never thought that it would happen. I never thought that we'd be living in a country. I'm not going to say a world because I know it happens in other places, but at least a country in which we have gotten so comfortable with tolerating stuff like this, right? There are pedophiles that run the country, they run corporations, they run businesses, and obviously they're not afraid to show it, i.e., Balenciaga. Right? They had a campaign, an ad in which they portrayed children in a sexualized way, a sexualized manner. And it's weird because obviously if you're going to put that out, you think it's okay, right? Think about the process of coming up with the idea, setting the scene, getting the kids, taking the pictures, editing them, thinking of marketing ideas, and then putting it out, right? It's a very long process. Obviously, they went through that process thinking that this was okay. Now, before I talk about what big pedophiles these people are, I'm going to read the apology that they released. Now, keep in mind, apologies are funny. A lot of the times it's not, I genuinely feel sorry for what it is that I did. It is, I'm sorry that I either got caught or that, hey, I thought that this was okay, but it's not. So I'm just going to backtrack to hopefully stay in the good graces of people.
I've made a severe and continuous lapse in my judgment, and I don't expect to be forgiven. I'm simply here to apologize.
In this case, the people are the ones who purchase their products, right? They don't want this to hurt their business, so they walked that back immediately. They deleted all pictures off their Instagram. The only one that was on there was this hilarious apology. So I'm gonna read it. It's obviously corny, like every other apology in which someone does something absolutely ridiculous, objectively ridiculous, right? But they just want to remain favorable to people, right? They could probably care less about this because that's what pedophiles are, right? They are pedophiles. So if they apologize, it's probably not because they don't want to not be a pedophile, right? They just want your money. So this is what Balenciaga had to say. They said, we would like to address the controversies, really, surrounding our recent ad campaigns. We strongly condemn child abuse. It was never our intent to include it in our narrative. The two separate ad campaigns in question reflect a series of grievous errors for which Balenciaga takes responsibility. The first campaign, the gift collection campaign, featured children with plush bear bags dressed in what some have labeled BDSM inspired outfits. Our plush bear bags and the gift collection should not have been featured with children. This was a wrong choice by Balenciaga, combined with our failure in assessing and validating images. The responsibility for this lies with Balenciaga alone. It's funny how they keep talking about Balenciaga as if they are not Balenciaga. I just find that funny, but let's continue. They said the second separate campaign for spring 2023, which is meant to replicate a business office environment, included a photo with a page in the background from a Supreme Court ruling, United States versus Williams 2008, which confirms as illegal and not protected by freedom of speech the promotion of child pornography. All the items included in this shooting were provided by third parties that confirmed in writing that these props were fake documents. They turned out to be real legal papers, most likely coming from the filming of a television drama. The inclusion of these unapproved documents was the result of reckless negligence for which Balenciaga has filed a complaint. Oh my goodness. They filed a complaint against themselves. That's hilarious. We take full accountability for our lack of oversight and control of the documents in the background, and we could have done things differently. But I just find that so funny, right? Not funny in a good way, but like they thought that they could do this, and they kind of aren't completely crazy for thinking that that's possible because of how like recent this like justification of over sexualizing children has become, right? It has now become popular in certain regards. I'm seeing kids at like drag shows putting money into like people's underwear and hand, like all this stuff, right? Like, and they're popping up. I'm like, it's not just one. I feel like I see a new one every single day, and I'm looking at these situations in which schools are having books in the class about like sexuality and all this stuff like that for kids, right? These are for kids. So the over sexualization of children, right? Adults feeling like they need children to validate who they are in their identity or their sexuality or whatever in order for them to feel comfortable. It is so popular and common now, right? That a company like Balenciaga, they feel like they can be pedophiles out in the open because it's normal, right? It's absolutely normal. And I heard an example from someone and it made a lot of sense. Like the world that we're moving into now is very, very beneficial for like businesses or people who just have crazy, absolutely crazy and insane views of the world. Because all the bad stuff that they want to do, originally they would have to do it in hiding or they would have to do it under the radar. Now it's like they're testing the waters to see what crazy stuff they can do out in the open. And when they do it, and if people don't say anything about it, well, then they can be like, okay, well, now the burden is off of me and it's on other people, right? The burden was on me before to kind of see if this was okay or not. Now that I know it's okay and everyone's consuming it, well, we're not the bad ones. They are if anyone feels as though this is wrong. And like I said, the example I heard was like if you're selling apples and the apples are poison, but you don't display that on the sign. You just say apples for sale. Well, then you have killed someone if they eat one of your apples. But if the sign says poison apples for sale and someone still buys one and they eat it, well, now they have just committed suicide. Shout out to this guy.
Top G.
Fire example. But it makes sense, right? Is if you are in the latter situation in which you see that this is poison, yet you still go forth with it, now it's on you, right? That's how these companies operate, where if we are pedophiles out in the open and people still buy our products and no one makes a big fuss out of it, well, everything is now on them, right? It's on you, it's on me, it's on anyone who purchases these products or still does business with these organizations. It's no longer, hey, Balenciaga is a bunch of pedophiles. It's society is allowing this to happen. Therefore, right, any pushback needs to be directed at them because Balenciaga is no longer responsible. That's how they operated here. Now, thank God it failed. Thank God people with common sense still exist because this was absolutely crazy. And it's funny because two of the biggest like ambassadors for Balenciaga were Ye and his ex-wife Kim Kardashian. Balenciaga has since dropped Ye, has stopped doing business with him as a result of all the things he's been saying, and he and his wife have gotten a divorce, and my assumption is because he put on a certain color hat, right? I think that had a lot to do with it, but that's just my opinion. But that leaves Kim Kardashian as like the last major ambassador of this brand, and everyone was waiting for her to release a statement about this, right? She's a mother, right? This is pedophilia carried out by a brand that she is an ambassador for. Like, obviously, it just makes sense, right? It's not like we even got to ask for it. It just seems like common sense to, release a statement, condemn it. Not that she is subscribed to that type of stuff, but because she works with them, right? Her name and Balenciaga's name are at the hip. So it just makes sense, right? It took this woman 6 days. 6 days. How long does it take for you to think of, I do not subscribe to what Balenciaga just did. They are not a representation of how I operate. And I might even stop doing business with them because they stopped doing business with my ex-husband because of what he said. This is far worse, in my opinion, because you are exploiting children in a sexual manner for capital gain. But that's just me. It took this woman 6 days. And the statement isn't even all that. Is actually appalling to me, right? Her conclusion of this whole situation. And I'll just read it for you right here. She said, I have been quiet for the past few days, 6, not because I haven't been disgusted and outraged by the recent Balenciaga campaigns, but because I wanted an opportunity to speak to their team to understand for myself how this could have happened. As a mother of 4, I have been shaken by the disturbing images. The safety of children must be held with the highest regard, and any attempts to normalize child abuse of any kind should have no place in our society, period. Right? She's off to a good start so far. I appreciate Balenciaga's removal of the campaigns and apology. In speaking with them, I believe they understand the seriousness of the issue and will take the necessary measures for this to never happen again, as if they didn't understand it before, but whatever. And here is the kicker. This is the crazy part. She says, as for my future with Balenciaga, I am currently reevaluating my relationship with the brand. basing it off their willingness to accept accountability for something that should have never happened to begin with, and the actions I am expecting to see them take to protect children. Absolutely freaking crazy. You are reevaluating your relationship with a company who is clearly filled with pedophiles. As a mother, that is insane. As a parent, period, that's crazy. But there are companies left and right dropping people for things that aren't even on this level, right? Balenciaga stopped doing business with Ye because of the stuff that he was saying based on his own personal experiences in the music industry. Nike just cut ties with Kyrie officially, right? Simply because this man posted a screenshot or a link to a movie that he watched that's still on Amazon, right? It's still on Amazon, yet they have officially cut ties with him. No more Kyrie's coming out under the Nike brand. Yet you're reevaluating your relationship with these people? Are you serious right now? Like, I'm not for cancellation. I'm not for censorship, right? I believe that people deserve second chances because we all mess up, right? But when it comes to children, innocent human beings, right, who have no perception of the world other than what they are told and taught, you exploit them for money in a sexual manner publicly, right? You don't even try to hide it. You do it publicly because you feel like it's okay. And this lady sits up here and says that she's reevaluating based on X, Y, and Z. What? That's crazy. And it's not even that. It don't even stop there, right? It doesn't even stop there. I want to play this video from The View. I can't stand this show, and I cringe every time I watch it, but they always give me good content, so I guess I owe them a thanks to a degree. Thank you. But they were talking about it, and they were basically saying that, like, agendas from one side of the political aisle is why Balenciaga did what they did, trying to play into their hands or whatever, as if it's some political game and has nothing to do with the exploitation of children. And then they just start talking about how ugly the bags were, as if the fashion sense is what really matters right now. It's absolutely crazy, but I mean, they can say it way better than I can.
What's going on here?
I found this ad campaign particularly distasteful in this moment. So there's growing anti-LGBTQ sentiment right now, and how it's being framed is as portraying, trans people as groomers. This is a term you'll hear on the far right. They're groomers. This is where you get the anti-drag queen stuff that we're seeing. So Balenciaga played right into their hands by having kids in a sexualized manner, carrying something that represents, sex acts. I think it was a really bad misstep at a moment where it's just kind of a dangerous time to even give credence to those kind of insane takes.
Yeah, I mean, we can't even show the picture because it's so distasteful. But what's also very distasteful is like Balenciaga lately. I mean, their stuff is just ugly. I mean, the bag that their little girl is holding is ugly. Do you remember when Kim K was dressed in Balenciaga for the Met Gala? Look at that. Oh, she looked like a bat or something. I mean, so they are.
So for her to describe it as just a misstep is absolutely crazy. And to say that, like, this is some, like I said, weird game and Balenciaga just played into their hands is ridiculous. But it just goes to show you how poisoning something like politics is, where these women can't even sit up here and say, hey, Balenciaga just did something that a pedophile would do, so maybe that's actually who they are, and people should, watch how they go about doing business with these people, or they should condemn these actions outright. They can't even do that, right, because of their political bias, which this shouldn't be a political issue. There are children involved. I didn't know that pedophilia became political, but once again, nothing surprises me anymore in this world. Mainly just this country's freaking imploding on itself. But they don't even have the decency to mention that, right? That this is just effed up, period. They think it's just a bad move. It's a bad misstep by Balenciaga because of what people on one extreme of the political aisle, or not even extreme, right? Like, that's just who they categorize that, but just people on one side of the political aisle, because of their views on certain issues, right? That's what it's really about. Absolutely crazy. And like I said, I don't even expect anything different from The View, right? They prove it time and time again how infuriating they are in their takes, but like I said, it's enjoyable to watch, in the sense that you feel like you just can't look away. Not because you are actually having a good time, but you just, like, can't take your eyes, you just still want to look. It's I don't know, it's weird, right? But the reason why what they're saying to me is very disturbing is because, and Balenciaga, they mentioned it a little bit in their apology, but in one of the, like pictures for the ad campaign was this court document that was poking out up underneath something else, right? And the court document was United States versus Williams 2008. Now, what this case is in 2008, the Supreme Court upheld part of a federal child pornography law that criminalized advertising, promoting, presenting, or distributing child pornography, even if the underlying material does not constitute child pornography, right? So them talking about how it's just a misstep, or they just kind of made a bad chess move in this weird political game that they're all playing, that's very, very troubling to me, simply because Balenciaga having these papers in this ad in which children are portrayed in a sexualized manner, to me, this is what it looks like to me, is that they are explicitly trying to tell you that, hey guys, we're clearly not doing that, right? We're so confident that we're not doing that we're going to show the court documents in the advertisement, right? So even though they're trying to do it out in the open, right, publicly be pedophiles, they still put that safety valve in there that, hey, just in case you guys think we are, right, we're not, because look at the court documents. Because obviously they're not going to come out outright and say, hey guys, we're pedophiles, buy our stuff. No, but they put that safety valve in there that says, hey, just in case you guys think that that's what we're doing, we're fully aware of what we're doing because we have the court documents to show that what you think we're doing is not what we're doing, even though we're doing it, but we're not directly going to tell you that we're doing it.
Him, bodies.
You know, and it's going to keep going, right? So that it is so alarming to me that their political bias will overshadow their common sense, that these people are crazy and they're using kids for money, yet they're going to cut off a man because of some stuff that he said from his own personal experiences. Now, however you feel about what he said, that being yay, right, that's your own personal prerogative, but then to beg for forgiveness for people, not because you're sorry for what you did, but because you got caught. Like, come on now, right? Absolutely crazy. I can't believe that, like I said, we live in a country in which this is tolerated, but we have no morals in this country. We have no basis for anything. Everything is random. People are doing whatever the hell they want to do. There's no sense of unity. So new stuff just pops up every single day, and you just got to keep up and just try to whack-a-mole it, basically. Like, oh, you're being a pedophile today. Let's stop that. Oh, you're, exploiting kids. Let's stop that.
Greg, they're only missing you. They need another tight end.
Well, they're playing whack-a-mole.
So it's like a full-time job now, which is wild. But, I mean, I don't even know how to rationalize it anymore other than just trying to offset it by something that is, like, better, right? So as I end this, I'm going to show you a video of children who are portrayed in a loving manner, right? Who are not being exploited sexually for capital gain or for political gain or for whatever other reason, because that's absolutely horrible, right? Don't do that, right? Don't be a pedophile. Don't be like Balenciaga, right? They're trying to show you how the world works. Thank God for common sense people who shut them down.
What's your favorite thing about Turner?
That he's my brother. It makes me feel good to have a brother like him.
I love you.
Why?
Because make me laugh.
Make you laugh?
Yeah, so hard.
He is the best laugh in the world.
Will you still be laughing together when you're adults?
Yeah. Definitely.